Welcome back, guys. We're here with another Commander deck update video, just showing you what new cards I've added to my EDH Gauntlet from Duskmourn. So this is our Duskmourn update, and actually had quite a few cards from this set. So I'm going to cover them deck by deck this time, just to show you which cards I added to which decks. But these cards will either be brand new cards from the set, or they might be new treatments, you know, borderless, foil, those kind of things of an already existing card in the deck, and I'll point out obviously what's what. So let's just get right into it. So anyone who knows, my first and best deck that I always have is my Kaalia of the Vast deck. And because Duskmourn is a horror themed set, we did get some good demons to introduce into that deck. You guys know Kaalia puts demons straight into play, and they're great if they have good enter the battlefield triggers. So the first one we're going to be adding here is Valgavoth the Terror Eater. Obviously the mana cost is not going to be relevant when you're cheating it into play with Kaalia, and it is a 9/9 flying lifelink, so great stats just to start off there. And of course very hard to target because your opponent has to sacrifice 3 non-land permanents to do so. And then the effect: during your turn you may play cards exiled with Valgavoth, and first part, if a card you didn't control would be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So basically, instead of your opponents putting their cards in the graveyards, they put them into this exile pile for you, and then you can cast them if you pay life equal to the mana value. You can cast cards from that exile pile. So very nice card, especially if you're casting cheap utility spells out of that exile pile. So I think that's going to be a great demon addition for Kaalia. Then I have another one, the Vile Mutilator, again 7 cost, and it has an additional cost to cast, but again, if you're cheating this into play with Kaalia, you're not going to be playing the additional cost, so you don't need to sacrifice anything. And then it's just a 6/5 flying trample, and when it enters, each opponent sacrifices a non-token enchantment and a non-token creature. So like if you're playing this in a 4-player game, you're killing 3 enchantments and 3 creatures when this comes into play, albeit your opponents choose which 3, but everyone's going to have to lose an enchantment and a creature. So just a tremendous amount of destruction and power for an uncommon demon here. So that's the Vile Mutilator. Then got a special tutor for Kaalia. Obviously we're already running all of our main tutors, but this is the Demonic Council. Search your library for a demon card, put it into your hand. So it's kind of like a demonic tutor for a demon, but then if you have Delirium, it becomes actually just a straight demonic tutor. So I thought that was nice, worth running. A lot of times you'll find you end up tutoring for demons anyway, so this is just a very nice nice card in that respect. And finally, our new treatment from our Nightmare bundle, we have Damn. Really cool kind of, 90s colors with the purples and the greens. But basically, I like this in Kaalia as my board wipe because it functions as just a spot removal too, because you're much more likely to want spot removal than have a board wipe, but it's nice to have a board wipe around to overload if you need to. So that's from the Nightmare bundle, Damn. All right, moving on then to our Animar deck. So we did get a couple of additions to Animar. That's our other, one of our other premium decks that I have put together. And the first thing I added to that is the Enduring Vitality. I love the Enduring cycle, and this is so good with Animar because you're just going to be putting tons of creatures down, and then your creatures will basically give you mana to make more creatures. It's really important always getting colored mana in Animar because he'll really feed you tons of colorless mana, but then you still always need to play your colored mana cost. And this basically just lets your creatures cover the colored mana cost for your other creatures. So I really like the Enduring Vitality. Then another from the Enduring cycle, we have the Enduring Curiosity. This is just a great effect. I like this whenever they say it is whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So that's not limited to once each turn. That's not limited to in any way. It's just anytime a creature deals damage, you get a card. So I just love that because you just start sending your creatures wherever they can hit and then just replacing them with card draw. So just a fantastic card there, Enduring Curiosity. And lastly, the treatment replacement, we got a special guest from Duskmourn, the Phantasmal Image with the It art on there. Love Phantasmal Image. It's a great card, but this full art treatment, or excuse me, borderless treatment is very cool. Showing it and its reflection there. So we're going to be replacing our Phantasmal Image with this nice pimped out upgrade. Moving on then to our next couple decks, we have our Yarok and our Omnath. Both have landfall themes to them. And so we've got a new card from Duskmourn that's great for landfall, and that is our Walk-in Closet Forgotten Cellar. So the Walk-in Closet half is really just a crucible of worlds for anyone who plays green. You may play lands from your graveyard. And then it has the bonus of when you unlock the Forgotten Cellar, you may cast spells from your graveyard this turn, kind of like the Yawgmoth Will type effect. So definitely a nice upgrade to a Crucible. A lot of decks are still going to be playing both, though, just because playing lands from the graveyard is such a powerful effect. So we're adding the Walk-in Closet both to Yarok and Omnath. It's Omnath Locus of Creation, both landfall-themed decks. And Yarok, of course, doubles your triggers. So that's the theme of that one, which doubles landfall too. So I've got the nice borderless treatment here on this one, and then just the standard treatment here for that. So those are going into those two decks that I mentioned. Then also have a couple of doorways that are being added into my deck here for the... Trying to remember the last thing on it. Arcades the Strategist. I knew it was Arcades, that's a Walls themed deck, but he's called Arcades the Strategist. And so the first one we're adding to that is the Restricted Office. This is very standard of an effect to be playing in the Arcades deck. Destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater, because you're playing walls and defenders. You're not going to have that power, and it's going to be kind of a one-sided board wipe, so very strong there. And then once you get up to 7, you can pay to give your permanents hexproof. Again, just a nice little upgrade to protect yourself once you have that extra mana that you don't have anything to do with. So that's going into the Arcades the Strategist wall deck. And then also for your walls, it's really nice to give them Vigilance, which is effectively what this is here. Untap each creature you control during each other player's untap step. Technically a little better than Vigilance even, but allows you to use tap abilities and then recover and untap the creatures, or allows you to attack with creatures and then have them still up to defend, which of course is great with defenders. So we've got this nice full art version of that too. And then giving your creature spells Convoke is nice because then again you can tap walls to produce the mana to cast more walls. Very similar to the concept of the Enduring Vitality that I was talking about in the Animar deck. This just helps your walls cast more walls. So great to full art room cards that are being added to the Defenders deck. Then we have our Satya deck. So Satya is the creature that's an energy-based deck. So it's blue, red, white energy is the theme of it. But for those of you who are not familiar with Satya, he creates token copies of non-token creatures. So he's on the lookout always for good creatures to copy. And from Duskmourn, we have the Silent Hall Creeper. So this is a great card because it just costs 2 mana, can't be blocked, and when it deals damage, which of course it will since it can't be blocked unless your opponent removes it, you can draw a card, put 2 counters on it, or make it a copy of another creature. So what's so good about this in Satya is you can only choose one that hasn't been chosen, but when you're making new copies of this every turn, you basically can choose the same one over and over again for the copy. So if you've got a really good creature to copy, you can just keep copying it over and over. Or of course, you can just keep draw a card over and over. So just play it, draw a card. So every time you get to draw a card, because you're making copies, you don't have the restriction of it's not the same card, so you can choose the same thing over and over. So that is the Silent Hall Creeper. Fits very well with that Satya deck. And then also with that deck, we also have the Enduring Curiosity, because you're trying to play small creatures, get them in for damage, and that effect of when you deal damage, draw a card is a very nice effect for that deck. So we've got the Enduring Curiosity also for our Satya energy deck. So it's kind of like aggro energy, copying tokens is the theme of that one. Then on to our zombie deck. So the zombie deck that we do play currently is the Scarab God, but these would be largely good in any zombie deck. The first one is the Unstoppable Slasher. So this guy is just a menace for your opponent to deal with from a blocking standpoint, because if they let him through, they have to lose half their life. But similarly, he has Death Touch, so if they block him, he just kills the creature. And as you know, zombies are good at recurring from the graveyard, so he will return with 2 stun counters on him every time he dies. Obviously, 2, just a great recurrence with the zombie theme. So that's the Unstoppable Slasher. Then again, horror theme is great for demons, is great for zombies. We got this really cool Damnation with the looks like Stranger Things vibes to me, but really cool full art Damnation, just destroy all creatures, the standard effect. This is our alternate treatment, of course. This card's already in our deck, but we got this nice really creepy looking treatment, fits in well with a zombie deck. So even though obviously Volgavoth is a demon, Vecna is who he's clearly trying to be, but still think that creepy vibe is right for the zombie deck. And then we have the Living Death. So this is a super cool, again from the Nightmare bundle, the poster treatment. So it looks like an old 80s horror movie. And the Living Death, of course, is great for zombies because everyone exiles all their creatures, and then you put all cards exiled this way onto the battlefield. So that is nice pseudo board wipe type effect for a zombie deck. So again, that's already in our deck, but we're just substituting out the 80s poster treatment art. All right, coming down the home stretch here then, we got one addition for our mono white Mangara Death and Taxes deck, and that is again another one of our Endurings. As you can tell, I love the Endurings. This is the Enduring Innocence, and so when one or more creatures you enter with power 2 or less, you get to draw a card. I don't like that this only triggers once each turn, but it is what it is, and it's still very worthwhile, so that every time you play your small creatures, you get to replace them with a card draw. So that's very nice in the, in a Death and Taxes type deck where you've got your small taxing creatures, you get to draw a card every time you play one. So that is the Enduring Innocence. And last but not least, just have another walk-in closet. Like I said, guys, I love the walk-in closet Forgotten Cellar, and that's from my mono green Azusa deck. Talked about that card already, but obviously very relevant for mono green Azusa. So that has been our Duskmourn update. Like I said, for just a single standard set, a ton of cards, but that's because we got the Nightmare bundle, we got some special guests, so it was really nice. Got to add some cool treatments to our deck and got to add some new cool cards to our decks. So plan on just keep updating these videos. I know the products just keep on coming with the Wizards of the Coast, so as I update these decks, I'm going to try to give you the journey, and then I'll try to sprinkle some deck text in as well to get so that you can see what these decks are starting to look like now with all of these crazy additions that happen every single set. Thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more videos.